The American dream is a scam. You got played, and deep down, you already knew that.
America is the biggest scam ever.
American dream was a propaganda tool to get immigrants to come to America and become corporate slaves. Do we get that now? That America had a dwindling workforce because they kept adding people to the system of white privilege.
America is designed to break you. And that's what it's doing. It's functioning the way they designed it. It's breaking all of us. It's not normal for us to be dealing with this much depression, this much worry, this much anxiety, but this is how they designed it.
American dream is the American illusion. The dream was a house with a white picket fence and a family. The illusion is that you will work 7 days a week to maintain that house and never get to enjoy it. The dream was one income supporting a family. The illusion is that both parents must work multiple jobs to supply their family with the bare minimum. The dream was starting with very little and working hard to gain plenty. The illusion is that the harder you work, the more they take. The dream was getting an education through hard work and dedication. The illusion is that even though you get an education, an AI bot will take your job. The dream was freedom in all forms. The illusion is constant persecution by an overreaching government.
If you are deciding to bring your to America, stay the over there. Do not come over here. Please. I beg of you. This sucks. All prayers to all my Americans, all my USA motherfuckers, you know what I'm saying, my cousins, all that. We gotta figure something out, because this ain't gonna work for me.
It's a fucking fantasy, people. Come on. You're under spells. Like, oh my God, you're under spells.
Now, brothers and sisters, I want to be very clear before we get into this one. We all grew up hearing about America. America was the dream. It was our dream destination. It was the place where if you could just get there, everything was just going to be okay. That was the story we were told. That was what we was watching on the mainstream media. That was the story broadcast across our televisions, played in our music, shown in many movies that we were watching. America, land of the free, place where hard work equals success. That was the package. But today, I want to go with you through these clips of real people, real voices, Black Americans specifically, talking about what that dream actually looks like when you are living inside of it. And I promise you, by the time we get to the end of this video, you are going to see things differently. This video is for educational purpose. Let's get into it.
The American dream does not exist. The only reason it existed before was because the US empire was at the peak of its imperialist power. Its control over the rest of the world was absolute. And by causing horrific suffering around the world, the US could provide luxuries for its citizens. Today, that control is slipping.
The capitalist wants to extract the greatest possible profits from their workers, and the workers want to be paid as much as possible for their labor. These two goals cannot be reconciled, and so there will always be conflict. The problem in hyper-capitalist countries like the United States is that the capitalist class has near complete control. They've destroyed unions, gutted labor protections, bought favorable legislation to make those practices easier, and are now able to make things worse and worse for the average person.
That's why you can't afford a home, or groceries, or a car. That's why you don't have any benefits. That's why every new job created is gig work. It's not because you're unlucky, or the country is just going through a rough spot, or the wrong person is in the Oval Office. This is how capitalism works.
From the moment you took your first breath, they started feeding you that dream. Work hard, be good, follow the rules, and you'll be rewarded. You'll have peace, security, and freedom. A little house, a little joy. But see, that was never the plan for you. That story was told to keep you obedient, to keep you in line. So you would clock in, clock out, and not ask too many damn questions. So you would go into debt for a degree, for a house, for a car, chasing something they promised, but they never planned on delivering it to you. They don't want you to be free. They want you to be docile. They want you grateful for crumbs. Because understand, when you're busy dreaming, you're not paying attention to who's stealing your future. So wake up. The dream, it was a lullaby.
Man, honestly, the American dream. The American dream ain't never did nothing for nobody but put them in some goddamn debt. You buy a house, you in debt. You buy a car, you in debt. You start a business, you in debt. You try to go to school, you in debt. You telling me there ain't shit we can do in this life to where a motherfucker ain't gotta be in debt? Like nothing? And it's like, I know God intended for us to do more than just clock in and die. Because at this point, that's all we doing. We barely making enough to survive, and we clocking in and dying. That's all the we doing.
American dream is not my dream. It was a dream fed to me, even since a child. They do it really young. Even as a kid, it's like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And then that's how they start making you, conditioning you to believe that your whole purpose of existence is working. So then, as a young child, you're like, I want to be this, and I'm going to go to this house, and I'm going to do that. And they keep you in this loop so young, just constantly wanting to do this, constantly wanting more, and never really feeling alive and joyful for what you have right now. To be a kid. Even as a child, you're in such a hurry to get older. And it's like, no. Embrace youthfulness. Embrace play and joy every day. Embrace present. There's no need to constantly desire and acquire things. You go to other places in the world where they don't have all these curated realities. And these kids, their dreams are to see their parents again, to get some food to eat. And then you make you really sit and think like, what the hell is this world? What the hell world am I living in? And they're so happy and so joyful to be alive because they're not dreaming and constantly needing to acquire things to be alive. It's the small things, because it's only the simple things that really matter.
Y'all not understand how up America gotta be for you to work hard and still have no fucking where to go? It's just like, oh my gosh, when is it all going to end? Like, y'all, it's so bad to the point where even though you work, you more than likely can't even eat every day. Not even 3 times a day. Me, none. Yet they expect us to keep working with a smile on our face. All of that. I be seeing why people don't want to work. They pay us a little bit of money, but make everything expensive. I'll be damned if I'm putting my life on the line for $14, $15. And then the whole time, your ass can get hurt or die at the job you're at. So now you done fucking wasted your whole life being a hard worker to a company that don't give a about what you got going on. Don't give a that you don't have nowhere to go. Just don't give a goddamn. And certain people will never understand the frustration. You guys will never understand unless you're going through it. There is no reason why hard workers can't afford to eat, can't afford to live, can't afford to pay rent. It is so much. And I just wanted to let everybody out there know.
What words of encouragement do you have for America's youth?
Leave.
Oh, please.
Leave. America is one big homeowners association. You can't even go to Canada because that's about to be America too. So you got to find somewhere else to go for a little while and give it a generation.
Thanks for those words.
I don't say that to be pessimistic. I say it to hopefully activate people into seeing what's going on.
You literally told the nation's youth that they should leave and flee the country.
They should. They should.
Thank you, everyone. This is Roy Wood Jr.
I did everything I was supposed to do. I was in the military, I went to college, I worked, and we can't buy a home. What did I do wrong? I'm a nurse, and I love it. I love it. It's great.
And what does your husband do?
He's a manufacturing tech at Intel. So we have pretty good jobs, decent jobs.
Do you feel like those jobs are enough to cover your living expenses? And
not even close. We pay about $3,000 in rent. We have all of the utilities. We have car payments, car insurance, mouths to feed, and gas. Maybe we have enough left over for groceries and toiletries and household stuff. Why are we struggling? I'm not gonna give up. The goal is to buy a home in 3 years. If I have to get a second job as a nurse, then so be it.
You will do that.
I'm going to do it because I'm going to give my kids something to be proud of.
And so that in order to expand that system, they had to spread the concept of the American dream through the media all over the world, which gave people this bright idea that America is this place of freedom and happiness and joy where you can start your life and become any type of person that you want. That was propaganda. As the servant class became smaller, as they added people to the system of white supremacy, they needed more people to fill those gaps, right? So they started selling that dream to the immigrant class overseas through the American media propaganda system, which they still do, right? And so everyone keeps bringing a happy, joy, lucky ass over here, thinking that they can make anything possible just to become a corporate slave in the end. The American dream has always been a farce, but that's why it was called a dream, because it was a fantasy. It was never real. It isn't called the American reality.
It's never going to get any better. Don't look for it. Be happy with what you got. Because the owners of this country don't want that. I'm talking about the real owners now. The real owners, the big wealthy business interests that control things and make all the important decisions. Forget the politicians. The politicians are put there to give you the idea that you have freedom of choice. You don't. You have no choice. You have owners. They own you. They own everything. They own all the important land. They own and control the corporations. They've long since bought and paid for the Senate, the Congress, the state houses, the city halls. They got the judges in their back pockets. And they own all the big media companies, so they control just about all of the news and information you get to hear. They got you by the balls. They spend billions of dollars every year lobbying to get what they want. Well, we know what they want. They want more for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. That's against their interest. That's right. They don't want people who are smart enough to sit around the kitchen table and figure out how badly they're getting f***ed by a system that threw them overboard 30 years ago. They don't want that. You know what they want? They want obedient workers. Obedient workers. People who are just smart enough to run the machines and do the paperwork and just dumb enough to passively accept all these increasingly shittier jobs with the lower pay, the longer hours, the reduced benefits, the end of overtime, and the vanishing pension that disappears the minute you go to collect it. And now they're coming for your Social Security money. They want your retirement money. They want it back, so they can give it to their criminal friends on Wall Street. And you know something? They'll get it. They'll get it all from you sooner or later because they own this place. It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club. And by the way, it's the same big club they used to beat you over the head with all day long when they tell you what to believe. All day long, beating you over the head in their media, telling you what to believe, what to think, and what to buy. The table is tilted, folks. The game is rigged, and nobody seems to notice. Nobody seems to care. Good, honest, hard-working people, white collar, blue collar, doesn't matter what color shirt you have on. Good, honest, hard-working people continue. These are people of modest means. Continue to elect these rich cocksuckers who don't give a f about them. They don't give a f about you. They don't give a f about you. They don't care about you at all. At all. At all. Yeah. You know? And nobody seems to notice, nobody seems to care. That's what the owners count on, the fact that Americans will probably remain willfully ignorant of the big red, white, and blue dick that's being jammed up their assholes every day. Because the owners of this country know the truth. It's called the American dream, because you have to be asleep to believe it.
The American dream, as we've known it, is dead. It's not coming back. The American dream, for those of y'all who might not be familiar, was to, work hard, overcome your circumstances, become successful, get a good job, go to school, the whole shebang, right? Buy a house, get married, have babies, white picket fence with a dog, the whole shebang, and then just enjoy the fruits of your hard labor. That is dead. That is over. I'm not going to sit here and say it's impossible. It is exponentially harder now than the America I grew up in the 90s and the early 2000s. No. What a lot of millennials my age find ourselves fantasizing about now is making American money outside of America. The new American dream is to get the f out of here. Because this country is not the same one I grew up in, man. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I know this country has always had its problems. I know its foundations and roots are soaked in blood and that they really haven't done the requisite work to atone for that. But I could at least say when I was coming up in the 90s and early 2000s, and hell, even the 2010s to a certain extent, that we were trying. Genuinely, as a whole, we were trying. There were people trying to hold us back and take us back to the Stone Ages. But the general consensus is that we need to keep moving forward. And we were, until Donald Trump. Now, I'm not going to blame him exclusively for this because there is a whole machine behind him that is making this possible. But he was the catalyst. He was the linchpin that galvanized the worst of the worst in this country. And as a result of that, him and his minions have set us back decades, literal decades. And that is not an America I want to live in. I wake up every day ashamed. Ashamed of this government, ashamed of this country, ashamed of what we have allowed to happen. And if I could be so bold, I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of it. I fantasize about getting the of this country at least twice a day. I sit there and I really game this. Okay, how much money would I need? Where would I go? What kind of job am I getting? What kind of life could I have overseas? I really think about this at least twice a day. The only thing, and I do mean the only thing keeping me here is my wife. That's it. Because I know her whole family is here. She would never really live overseas, and she would never give up her job as being a teacher here in DC. She love them damn kids too much. But if not for her, man, I promise you I'd be gone because I'm tired of this bullshit here, man.
Just because you bought a house, just because you decided to get up and buy a house, that does not fucking impress me. But instead, how you bought the house will impress me way more than just saying that you got a house. All that says to me is, hey, I got a house. This is how my brain works. Somebody say I got a house. They're young, 20, 30, whatever. Now we already know the statistics. 80% of Americans are in debt. You know, majority of people only make 40 grand a year. You know, yada yada yada. We all know the numbers. You buying a house says to me, I just put myself in a position to where I have to keep a job and maintain a job for the next 15 to 30 years of my life. Because when you sign up for that mortgage, they're gonna ask if you want a 15 to 30 year mortgage. That's heart-wrenching to me, knowing that they already taken away pensions. Pensions is not gonna be here to help your. Social Security is not gonna be here to help your. All this shit that our parents and grandparents got, they just not gonna be here when we get older. So you got to think a little bit smarter. Why would you take all your money out your account that you've been saving up for years to go buy a house? Which is what you should have did instead was go get a 2, 3, or 4 unit and got that building and use the rents from that to go purchase your house. So now that's paying for your home instead of you paying for your home out your pocket.
You are not buying a house. You are buying the right to live in a house and pay the bank. So people need to stop saying, oh, I bought a house, I own my house. You can't, no. You don't own anything someone can take from you. And you did not buy the house. The only time you can say you own your home is if you have no mortgage. Even then you don't own it because if you don't pay property taxes, they can still take it from you.
In other countries, they don't have to spend 20% of their paycheck on groceries. What do you mean in other countries, everyone can own homes because they're not paying $2,000 a month in rent or that their mortgages aren't like their entire paycheck? What do you mean that people in China work one job and they don't even work 40 hours and they can easily afford their life? And then I'm over here working 60 hours a week, just me as a single parent, to like barely make ends meet, and I'm penny pinching every single second, and like there's so much of life that my kid misses out on and that I miss out on.
I'm gonna just cut it off right there. Dry up them crocodile tears, Sarah. I don't care. You know why I don't care? Because this is white people's fault. This is white people's fault. And now y'all want to boo-hoo and cry because y'all done got on that Chinese app and they done put the Uno reverse card on y'all ass and held up that mirror and told y'all, no, y'all are the brokies. Not us. We not the brokies. It's y'all. And y'all got to face the cold, hard reality that y'all have made this bed and now y'all got to sit in it. No, take accountability. Don't sit here and boo-hoo and cry and get on that TikTok and talk on the internet talking about what are we going to do? What are we going to do? No, what are y'all going to do? Because black people have been telling y'all for decades. We have been protesting. We have been doing everything for all these decades, and y'all have sat back and reaped the rewards thinking y'all was a part of the club because y'all was white. Y'all thought this was about race. No, it's always been about class. And y'all were never a part of the club. Y'all make up 60% of this country's population. There's no we, it's y'all. Every minority could vote or go against something or go for something that we know is good for the people. And y'all would turn it down because y'all have the overwhelming majority. So it's no we, it's y'all. Fix y'all. I know y'all don't like to take accountability for nothing, but now it's time. Y'all over there boohooing crying because y'all seeing the Chinese Walmart and they over there paying $3 for a whole goddamn bag of groceries. Meanwhile, you got to pay $200 and barely fill up your grocery cart. See, all those things you're boohooing and crying about, FDR made that happen. But then it all went away in 1967. Why did I say 1967? What does that correlate to? Oh, the Civil Rights Act was passed. Integration happened. And then white people stripped away or voted against themselves to strip away all public services and entities and all those great things that y'all had prior to integration because y'all didn't want black people to have the shit. So y'all gave all that up in the 1980s when Reagan created trickle-down economics because y'all didn't want us to have. He gave us crack and trickle-down economics. And y'all was cool with that. Y'all made a deal with the devil and now y'all got to accept the consequences of y'all actions. Y'all had affordable housing. Y'all didn't have credit scores. Y'all didn't have you could send your kids to college for the free or for the low. We had advanced and effective public transit and services in this country. But y'all gave all of it away because y'all didn't want to have access. Y'all fought so hard with things like red line and all these different things to hold black people back to keep us from getting a piece of the pie. Whole time they taking y'all pie. And now y'all got to face the music. And now you want to boo-hoo. Y'all let them pass the Patriot Act in the act of protecting us from terrorists. Use that Islamophobia against y'all dumbass. Y'all let them further push the Patriot Act in 2019 because of that the immigration that y'all was so afraid of, all the immigrants, right? Just taking away all y'all fucking right. Now y'all want to point and what are we gonna do? No, what are y'all gonna do? Because when black people out here marching for police brutality, who they just do things to us and write a fake ass police report and get away with it and nothing happens? You think or when we did ride when things like Mike Brown, Trayvon Martin happened, and the original Black Lives Matter activists, the original movement that got hijacked, you know what I'm saying? The original activists that was out there on the ground got took out by the police. Oh no, y'all ain't say nothing then. When we telling y'all that they're interfering in our freedoms and our rights, but no, it's black people, so we ain't worried. It's not us, it's them. Well, I'm not. I should have to pay for the sins of my fathers. I didn't own any slaves. I'm not racist. Yes, but you're compliant to the system and you're complacent and you're okay with the system that gave you an edge up against us. Go back to R. Kelly or the things that was going on at Nickelodeon or with Harvey Weinstein, all that weird shit, right? There were people still giving up their kids to that, making deals, still going up there knowing everything that was going on, putting their children, putting their livelihoods, cameramen, people going to get opportunities and jobs. They did not care so long as it wasn't them. And that was y'all this entire time up until now. Go back and look at the prequel to the Purges. Where did they start? How did they get people to approve some like the Purge? They started in the hood. They started with black people. They started with the disenfranchised. So when y'all turn a blind eye and y'all let that go on with black people and we getting our ass whipped by police and we getting our rights taken away and we getting profiled and we getting this, and they're slowly implementing that shit and they were slowly draining that shit from y'all. It look like, come on, bruh. You would have thought y'all would have woke up when that shit happened in North Carolina and that hurricane went up there and fucked them up. But no, what did they turn into? Oh, well, it's Biden. Whole time North Carolina is a red state. Oh, like your local governments fucking failed y'all. So no, there's no, what are we gonna do? No, it's what y'all gonna do. Grab y'all fucking nuts and go do something. Because we, black people, we tired of being y'all fucking crash dummies and going out there and then they give y'all a little piece of the pie, then y'all go back and y'all let us out there to fucking drown. No, y'all go do something. Oh, and never forget, we could have had Bernie, but y'all said he was a socialist.
No homeless people in China, because in China, even though you are very poor, like you're a very poor person, and even though that, your parents maybe have an old house inside the countryside. They have a old apartment inside the city somehow. And that house, that apartment, just paying zero tax to the government. We Chinese, we do not have property tax, housing tax. We also do not have a car tax. Like every year you need to renew a tag on your license in the United States, paying $250 something. No, no such thing. Once we own the car, we own the house, just no tax. We only pay tax when we buy it for one time. Okay, such like my apartment, $70,000. When I buy it, I only pay one time 1% of the tax.
The reasons why things is going on in life is because some of y'all have that mentality of y'all just broke it. Y'all need to work harder. No, just shouldn't be that fucking expensive. You dumb.
I think the American dream has slowly become get out of America, right? And I say this as someone whose parents came to America for a better life. It's not the same country, I feel like. And when I talk to them about it, and when I talk to some of my friends who lived in other countries and then came to America, left, and then came back, it's very noticeable that something has changed about America for the worse. And I don't know that it's going to get better soon. And what I mean is the way that Americans act with each other, the aura that the country itself possesses, everything about the country seems off. And obviously we know kind of what started it and we know what put the nail through the coffin. But I think now the goal is just to leave. And the goal is to take the money you make here, go somewhere where the money goes far, and just enjoy life to the fullest extent that you can. Because I feel like the opportunities this country has for young people are really, really slim. And I was talking to my friend from Bolivia about this, and his whole thing was like, bro, just leave. The world is bigger than America, and the minute that people stop thinking that America is the whole world is going to be the minute that the world opens up. And that's been something that's kind of stuck with me for a while, because it is really true. The world is bigger than America. And I think a lot more people are starting to wake up to this idea that, like, at the end of the day, we can live the American dream outside of America with American money and call it a day.
We get up every motherfucking day. Every motherfucking day to go make some money, to pay bills, to survive. And then within the blink of a motherfucking eye, when the government is ready to wipe a motherfucking city out, we get these quote-unquote storms. Correct me if I'm wrong. Bro, we all have been bamboozled. And who does it affect every motherfucking time? Black people. We get affected the motherfucking most. This if y'all ain't fucking tired of fucking going through the same, motherfucker can't say, man, we still slaves. Ain't shit free about America. This is not the motherfucking land of the free. It's not the motherfucking land of the free.
What you just watched was not one person's opinion. That is an important thing to understand. You just heard from a nurse, a military veteran, manufacturing worker, content creators, everyday people just speaking from where they stand. Different ages, different backgrounds, different corners of America, and somehow they are all arriving at the same conclusion. When that many unrelated voices land on the same feeling without coordinating each other, that tells you something. That is not coincidence. That is pattern. And pattern is data. So let me try to zoom out and give you the bigger picture of what I think is actually going on in the minds of a lot of people in the Black American community right now. Based on everything we just heard, there is a generation, really several generations stacked on the top of each other right now, that inherited a very specific instruction manual for life. Get the education, get the job, be respectable, follow the process. And the unspoken promise attached to that instruction manual was that if you did it right, the outcome would eventually match the effort. Stability would come, a home would come, some breathing room would come. What you are hearing across all of these different voices is people arriving sometimes in their 30s, sometimes in their 40s, and realizing that they did everything the manual told them to do. And the outcome never showed that gap between what was promised and what actually arrived. That gap is where all of this frustration is living. And I think what makes this particularly heavy for Black Americans specifically compared to other groups going through similar economic pressure is history. This is not the first broken promise. There is a long memory here, a memory of being told the rules, following the laws, and still ending up on the outside of the reward. So when that same pattern shows up again in a new form, this time wearing the costume of inflation or gig work or unaffordable housing, it does not land as a fresh disappointment. It lands on the top of an old one. It confirms something that was already suspected. That is why you hear so much exhaustion in these clips, and not just anger. Anger is what you feel the first time something is unfair. Exhaustion is what you feel when unfairness keeps repeating itself across generations. There is also something that is happening here that I think is worth naming. A kind of quiet re-evaluation. For a long time, the idea of leaving America, of building a life somewhere else, was treated almost like giving up, like you were abandoning the fight. But what you are hearing now from all of these voices is a different framing entirely. Leaving the US is no longer being talked about as defeat. It is now being talked about as strategy, as self-preservation. Many Americans across different states are starting to ask a practical question. If the system was not actually built with my well-being in mind, why am I obligated to keep pulling my life into it? That is not bitterness, my brothers and sisters. That is people doing math and being honest about what math is telling them. And brothers and sisters, I want to be honest with you about something else here. What you are hearing from those Americans is not really about money at the end of the day. Money is the surface conversation. Underneath is something closer to dignity. It is people asking to be seen as more than labor, asking for their exhaustion to be acknowledged instead of dismissed. That is what many of these Black Americans and many Americans at large are asking. They are asking for the sacrifice that they have already made, the degrees, the extra shifts, the years of showing up, to actually count for something. It is not a radical ask. And I think that is what makes it so powerful when you hear it stacked clip after clip like this. Now, from where I sit, as someone from Africa watching from the outside, I think it is very important for more of us Africans to pay attention to conversations like this one. Because for a long time, the image that traveled across the world was a very curated one. Success stories, big houses, nice cars. That image did the real damage to many Africans, especially Africans who were dreaming of traveling to the USA and change their lives. They all had this American dream in their minds. The dream of leaving Africa, the third world continent, and go to the US to change their lives. To not only change their lives, but also change the lives of their family back home. That is what many Africans expected. But what happened is that many of these Africans ended up going to the USA. And they were all living to paycheck life. Their expectations didn't meet reality. And they are all exhausted in the USA, working more than 3 jobs just to be able to meet their ends meet. They're all still facing the pressure from their families back home, asking them to send money because they all still have this image of what America is. So I want to leave you with this one. Whatever you take away from this video, I hope it is not a despair. I hope it is clarity. Because I think there is something powerful in people being able to finally say out loud what they have been thinking privately for many years. That is usually where change starts. Not with silence, but with people naming their reality honestly, out loud, in front of each other. That is what I saw in every single clip that we watched. Thank you for riding with me through this one. Let me know in the comments what stood out to you the most. If you find it interesting, click on that like button and subscribe for more future interesting episodes. Mr. TA, your African brother signing off. Ciao.